What are you reading?
Book about cats.
You should have just come to me. I'd have told you everything.
I figured you'd be sleeping.
No, I can't get to sleep. I'm looking for my pills. I should have a bottle around here somewhere.
You take sleeping pills?
I've never taken one myself.
Hey man, I'll tell you what, this fucking Devon Rex breed is fucking crazy looking.
What the hell's a Devon Rex?
It's a type of cat.
Oh.
Hello?
Hey, Andy.
Stanley?
I can't hear your voice.
I can hear you.
Fuck's sake. Hold on. I'll turn on the video conference.
Whatever.
Alright, can you hear me now?
I always could.
What?
I could always hear you.
Right, hold on, I'm coming down.
Fuck! You. How's it going? What's up, man?
No, I just feel like I haven't seen you in a while.
Ah, well, it's nice to see you.
Yeah. To be honest, now that I'm here, I've got nothing to say.
Well, how about this? Go tell Trevor to come up here and fix the fucking intercom, because the thing's not working. And,
What's the matter with you?
Monkey!
Oh, you're right. You want to go get him?
Yeah.
To be fair, I'm not sure I'll do that. Because my size and that. Small, aren't I? Oh, he's gone now anyway, so that's sorted then. He'll come again when you're fucking sleeping and toss you off.
I've got pride in my brain. Can you hear it hum? Hexadecimal thoughts, binary trees, sweet silicone, man or machine. I try to keep my head on straight. I've got a faulty battery brain. I can't even recall my name. I've got a faulty battery brain.
Hey there, I'm Andy, and this is my Spaceship. On the show today, I'm going to be chatting with movie and TV composer John Massari, and as a big fan of Killer Clowns from Outer Space, I look forward to having that conversation. And then we're going to,
Ask him what kind of keyboards he used.
What?
You're talking to John Massari, aren't you?
Yeah.
Ask him what kind of keyboard he's used.
Well, you looking to buy a new one?
No, I've already got one.
Then what do you care?
Well, I'm the keyboard, can't I?
Oh, fuck, there he goes again!
What was it?
It's a monkey. There's a monkey on board. So I am here right now with John Massari, who is a cool guy and also a film and TV composer. Most notably, I think, known for scoring Killer Clowns from Outer Space, which is one of my favorite things. So it's awesome to talk with you. So hi.
Hello. And you know what? I think there's something that your viewers on your podcast and on YouTube don't know about you. Andy is a classy dude. He had a box of premium cigars delivered to my house today. Not only that, bottle of champagne. It seems very expensive, by the way.
Yeah. I hope so. I don't even know what I can't even play along because I don't even know what the hell a box of cigars cost.
Oh, a good box of premium cigars is like $400, man.
There you go.
You spared no expense.
So what's going on right now? What are you doing?
Well, right this very minute, I am working on doing a synthwave hybrid approach to the Killer Clowns from Outer Space score. My fantasy goal is to sync it back up to the movie, redo the sound like it's supposed to be done, because there's a lot missing from the soundtrack. In other words, we're not really changing the music composition. We're going to make the music composition the way I originally imagined it, and the sound designer that worked on it, half of his really cool sound design was taken out. We're going to put that back in, and we're going to shoot for a very special distribution with a distribution company.
You say there's sound design that was missing? Like,
oh yeah, there's a lot of sound design that was missing, sound effects that were missing from the original movie. It's very frustrating to watch. I worked on the movie for, many weeks and seen it hundreds of times. Since the time I saw it at a screening, probably have seen it half a dozen times, but I always see it with people that want to see it, or I get invited to a screening to do a talk or something like that. And even then, I don't sit in the movie theater and watch the movie. I'll sit outside, and it's kind of, to me, it's a big thrill to hear everyone enjoy themselves.
It's nice to be attached to something that is awesome, because for me personally, like Killer Clowns is probably my favorite B movie. I think it's fun, it's inventive, obviously the theme song is amazing, your music's great because it takes the film seriously, and every time you see the clowns kill people, it's like a new gag every time. The pacing's great,
right? It's
got a nice run time, it has some genuinely funny jokes, cheesy, but funny.
Sure.
I forgot how hilarious the police chief is.
Oh gosh, John Vernon. Yeah,
dude, he's
great
such
actor.
a prick, but he's such a prick in the funniest way. Like every scene, he is just.
And he loved the Kyoto brothers. He was telling them, you guys are going to do a sequel, right? I'm coming back to life in the sequel, right? And he was such a great sport.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Holy shit.
The Kyoto brothers are very, very creative chaps. And all the things that you're talking about, like the little gags and line, they're things that fascinate the Kyoto brothers. What do we think that's funny? Okay, we're going to do things and say things and come up with gags that we think are funny. And it has endeared itself to generations. I mean, there are great grandkids that are discovering this movie. Heck, my kids, my two daughters, who are now 21 and 18, last year, they finally said, Dad, we want to see Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Haul that thing out. Haul that damn thing out. We're going to check it out. And probably every 5 minutes, or 10 minutes, they would go, Dad, this is crazy. If it's my fault that the movie's crazy. Someone said it was like we captured lightning in a bottle, and I think we could do it again. There's been a big development. The ownership of MGM, who is the property owner of Killer Clowns from Outer Space, has been acquired by Amazon. So there's new possibilities, because let me tell you, the Kyoto brothers have hundreds of pages of ideas and great gags, and to expand upon the universe, that I'm very confident we can do it again. Because we were just trying to have fun, pure and simple. We were just trying to have fun. Even I was trying to have fun, and I'm a serious guy.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
And I think that's the beauty of the first one. They weren't overthinking it. Literally, this was the concept, and it was on not even a page.
Yeah.
Let's come up with a scary concept. There's nothing scarier than late at night walking in an alley and you're seeing some guy in a clown suit coming toward you. It's one thing to see the clown. The clown's scary enough in a circus where they're supposed to be. Now you're seeing him in the middle of a dark alley. But imagine now it's an alien creature with all kinds of powers, and you're driving your car and the thing's flying right next to you. It is really as simple as that. They just thought that's very scary. And as a model this is no secret, is a model of the script story structure was modeled after the Blob. The Blob, there was a meteorite that landed that had this little goop on it that ate the farmer, and then it got bigger and it ate more people, and before you know it, all of a sudden we have to call out the army to get similar thing. Little by little, people are lured in thinking that these aliens their spaceship is something like a circus tent, and they just get caught up in it. And who would ever thought of such a crazy idea? There are three brothers that grew up in the Bronx, New York. They thought of that idea. So it's basically, you just got to let them do their thing and not second guess, not overthink it. Like when I'm doing my synthwave version, I'm not overthinking it. I'm taking the same composition and just using the equipment that I have now. In my mind, this is what I had conceived. The sound that I'm getting now is what I conceived 32 years ago.
Right.
The very important role that the music plays is the straight man. The music is supposed to sound legit because the movie is so crazy. If you had crazy, wacky, goofy music playing with like a crazy, goofy premise, they just don't play it. There's no contrast.
Right.
That's what they really liked. They said, wow, John, I like the fact that you're treating it like if it's a big, legit movie because it makes it funnier.
For the original movie, like at what point were you brought on? Like, did you know them or did they just hire you as a composer?
That's all I know is that a mutual friend of the Kyoto brothers that they worked with doing commercials back in Washington, D.C., they asked this guy, his name is Eric, do you know someone, we'd like to have someone in the family do the score because they're giving us a bunch of people we're not liking the music we're hearing and all that, whatever it was. And he says, yeah. So basically a friend of the Kyoto brothers that worked with them said, I worked with this guy named John Massari. He was very happy with me. So I got a call. I immediately hit it off with the Kyoto brothers, but I still had to audition with a bunch of other people. And let me tell you, the competition was pretty tough. There were some really big names that are still big names today that I was competing
Hans Zimmer.
Close. I'll tell you off the air one day.
All right.
Batman.
That the point is I had to audition. The movie was already shot and edited. I think it was 99% edited. They were doing very, very tiny, fine point cleanup things. When I saw the film at a screening at Warner Brothers Studio, there was no music whatsoever outside of the Dickie song at the beginning, which I thought was really fun. It was a very fun. If you listen to the lyrics to that song, it's just full of great metaphor. It's just really awesome. So the scene I picked is when the two kids go into the circus tent and they meet the killer clowns and they head back to safety and the clowns march on the city. I figured that was a keystone moment that I could do something that really establishes what the entire score will be like. And so I was very fortunate that everyone picked up on that, and so I got the job. And I could not have been happier because I figured there was this trend going on at the time where Tim Burton did Beetlejuice. So there was an appetite for very imaginative horror, maybe horror and sci-fi, hybrid horror genre. And I loved Beetlejuice. It was just such an imaginative story. So I imagined that it was going to kind of ride that wave. So I was very enthusiastic and thrilled to be working on Killer Clowns.
And I do appreciate that about Killer Clowns, that it's not cartoony music. Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously, like when you listen back, obviously, like for the time it was made, there may be certain like particular samples or something that sort of date it to the time it was made. But essentially, the composition and stuff, and there were some genuinely like creepy scenes. Like one of my favorites is when when the clowns turn their Officer Mooney into a ventriloquist dummy.
Gosh,
that scene is still awesome, and I love the way he played it. That scene is actually a really creepy and awesome scene. And then the music is serious.
Don't worry, Dave. All we want to do is kill you.
So what sort of equipment were you using when you made it? Like I'm thinking, if I think of like specific tracks, like I love the march.
Right.
The clown march, like that's classic. I love the fucking the ding 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 ding
So you're
ding.
playing air guitar.
Yeah.
I love it. It was all synthesizer, and this I did use a sampler for when I just needed like a kind of a real brass sound, to blend in with the synthesizers, and the sampler was a Fairlight that I had a friend of mine who owned the studio. His name's John Ross. He's had quite a career in sound design and sound mixing. Then I did the standard DX7, Juno 106. I had what was called a TX816, which was basically modules of DX7s. So I had technically 8 or 10 DX7s playing. There was a Oberheim OBX and an actual Lindrum. Expensive as fuck piece of equipment that I used to play the drums. Now the guitar sound was a guitar sound that I created on the DX7 that I cranked through an amp and some guitar pedals. So I actually mic'd it up, to get like a guitar sound. I did all my work at home and hauled my rig to the studio and plugged it into a big Trident board, and we recorded on multi-track analog tape.
There must be a huge initial investment or something like in yourself, because when you're naming off all of these keyboards that you had to have because there was no computer, with like virtual instruments and all this stuff. So like when you set out, did you go like, look, I'm going to be a composer because this all requires what you just outlined is a lot of money, and obviously you have to have space to put all these things, and this is fucking mid 80s, right? So I mean, what is that process like? Like, you have to really believe in yourself? Did you have to borrow money? Like, how the hell did you do it?
This will be good advice for people that want to get into this game. Don't think that you got to go take a loan for $30,000 and buy a bunch of gear.
Shit.
Wrong approach. Just like if you go to any craftsman, like a cabinet maker or anything like that, and you see all their tools, they have a story about each tool, when they got it, when they can afford to buy it, and what was their first job they used it on. So I did things in steps, little by little, and I always bought stuff when stuff was on sale. Like the Guitar Center and Sam Ash would have these crazy sales. You had to show up. They said the doors will open at 6 a.m. Well, I was out there at 3:30, in line, because I go, I'm going to buy that damn piano sample module, that Kurzweil piano sample module. I got to have it. It's, list price is like $900 and they're selling it for like $120. So I did that. I just bit by bit. That even goes with cables. I used to make my own cables. It's, cables can be very expensive, and I learned how to solder and make my own cables. So, because I only needed 10 cables, and a really good cable was a lot of money. And it took me 70% less money and not even a few hours of my own time to solder up and make like 10 cables. When you go to the store and you buy a, $1,800 synthesizer back in the day, they're going to try to sell you a $50 MIDI cable. And $50 back in the 80s was like $200. This is like serious money. I'm not kidding you. The income to expense ratio was very different when I was growing up. Before I started doing music super heavy duty, for about a year after I was in college, I was working at a warehouse, making like $700 a month, working 6 days a week. My rent for a decent apartment in Hollywood was $110 a month. And if I took the bus, I didn't waste any gas to put in my car. I actually had a savings account and a checking account. You know what I'm saying? I could actually go on a date and pay for it. You know what I'm saying? So those were the days. So I used to save my money up, and I used to take private lessons also in composition and orchestration. I went to UCLA, University of California, Los Angeles. I also studied privately from a guy that was an established professional in the business, and he also, one of his students notably was James Newton Howard. And a lot of people studied from this guy. His name was Dr. Albert Harris. He was the whole package. He had a a pipe and wore a tweed suit and the whole thing. So when I started working professionally, I could afford to like rent equipment that I couldn't buy. And usually when you rent the equipment, someone comes with it and that person can teach you how to use it. So that when you can't afford it, you're at least familiar with it. And the great thing about all that gear is that you find yourself, like with a video game, that hours and hours go by. Well, when you're on a synthesizer creating sounds and saving them for some special project that will come down the line at some point, just like a day disappears and you've made a really cool buzzing sound and like 10 cool sounds that are uniquely yours that you can use in whatever your projects are. And that still happens today, even with virtual ones. Most of the gear that I own, I have in virtual form now, and it works basically the same and it sounds good. The only thing I miss is actually dealing with touching the cables. What I don't miss is all the heat they generate and your electrical bill. That I don't miss, because when you have all that gear hooked up, you start burning up your power budget.
People like to talk about the difference between like analog and digital gear in terms of like music making, but it is real nice that you can just have it all on your laptop and walk around and go drink a coffee and like do stuff and
have more time concentrating on coming up with some great musical ideas and worrying about electronics. I mean, I've got a mic. I record stuff all the time. I was going through a synth library, not a synth library, a plug-in library with all kinds of electrical sounds. And I just wasn't finding what I found. And then I just said, shit, I'm just going to take a cable out and hit it against a piece of metal, let it buzz the speakers, and do it to a beat. And it was perfect. That's exactly what, and it was fun to do.
Yeah. I mean, through doing Beyond Synth, I'm part of a very sort of nostalgic scene.
Right.
But I've always been realistic and remember all the things I didn't like about retro tech. So it's fun. There's a nostalgic resurgence of like VHS and stuff like this. As far as I'm concerned, I hated VHS. Like I just remember thinking in my childhood going, every time I put the tape in, I forgot to rewind it. The tapes would break. I remember I had this episode of Doctor Who. It was the first thing I ever recorded when I was like 6. I learned how to use the VCR. I taped my favorite episode of Doctor Who, and I watched that tape so often that it fucking broke, and I was sad, and my dad had to try and fucking fix it, which he did. Aww. He had like a tape splicing machine or whatever.
Right.
And and the sound would go all wobbly and shit. And I remember when DVDs came out, I was like really excited. I'm like, what, like the picture is just always good?
And that's what is that? That's 480? Is a DVD 480?
Yeah, it's not even. Yeah, it's still standard definition, but it didn't have all the stupid lines and like the wobbly sound. Now, obviously, there is some nostalgia associated with it, but a lot of people, they'll do like Instagram filters or video filters where they have the fuzz and the VHS and stuff, and it's cute. But I remember hating that. Like when I was young, like adjusting tracking.
And when you're talking about tape, I mean, I had a reel-to-reel 1/4-inch recorder. Gosh, what brand was it? Was it Philips? It was Philips. You could set the head to record 2 channels, so you got the full width of the 1/4-inch tape that goes in just one direction, and that's it. So you can't like flip it over and play the other side. And even 15 inches per second analog tape had a charm to it. Yeah, there was the tape hiss, but it was a very high velvety. It's not like, it wasn't intrusive. Here's where you get the noise with analog. You have so much gear and you have so much crazy gain staging. Your signal's going through all kinds of equipment, and it just each piece of equipment picks up noise. That's why it was really cool back in those days. They had to figure, okay, we have 2 compressors, 3 different external EQs, an EQ on the board. I mean, now it's like if you see tutorials for a plugin developer, they'll say, okay, let's come up with a great snare sound. And before you're looking at the track, there's like 6 or 7 different plugins, and I realized, wait a minute, they're just trying to sell you plugins. That's all it is, because in the real day, you just basically the signal path, you wanted to make it as clean as possible and get a nice bright sound, and you just like committed to a certain sound. Like, you had your one particular compressor that the drums would go through, and you really just make it perfect and nice and tight for that. And you ended up running the bass through it as well, instead of the bass going through a separate one, compounding the noise. So when you would start the tape, if you had too much processing going on, you start the tape, you would hear this sound, this electronic sound. And sometimes some composers and music producers, they wouldn't try to, it's not so much filling up the tracks, they just make clear decisions. I mean, there's like, ABBA was known for doing like 48 channel, and I think they had a particular multi-track that even had more than 24 channels. It was called the Stevens machine. It was a 2-inch tape that had 32 channels on it, but you couldn't run it all the time because it would overheat and start to melt the oxide on the tape. There was all these physical considerations you had to have. And sometimes if I wanted a certain kind of fade, if I wanted to design a very special fade, sometimes I would transfer my audio onto film stock, film audio. That way I could take like toluene and wipe off the oxide and do some really interesting stuff, and then cut that and then sample it and put that back on tape. It's a lot of work, but that's just what we did. But what you had going in, you had a great musical idea that you liked to begin with. In other words, you weren't doing all this crazy stuff and then trying to figure out what your song's going to be like. You know what I'm saying? You have a song with a structure, you've got a melody that moves you or moves the people that it's intended for, that's effective. Then you can invest all this time in messing with all this gear to come up with a cool sound. I will now get off my soapbox.
Yeah. It's awesome stories like that make me think about today's sponsor. Hi there. I know this is supposed to be the sponsorship part, and look, I would love to tell you that Andy Spaceship is brought to you by some online mobile RPG. I would love to tell you that Andy Spaceship is brought to you by some VPN for you perverts. Hell, I would love to tell you that Andy Spaceship is brought to you by some free browser add-on that saves you money on your purchases. Do you ever wonder why honey is free? I mean, they're clearly stealing your information, right? I mean, they have to be. Unless it's just some weird scheme to hijack affiliate links to get all the commissions. But what do I know? The point is this: Andy Spaceship is brought to you by awesome people like you. The awesome people who support the show by going to patreon.com/BeyondSynth. Why Beyond Synth? Because it's a one-stop shop for all the people who support the Beyond Synth podcast and whatever the hell this show is, all right? So thank you. If you're a supporter of the show, you're cool. And if you ever wanted to support this fucking ridiculousness, go right ahead at patreon.com/BeyondSynth. And now I am off to the cocaine factory. Well, look, I want to do something silly here.
Okay.
I'm pulled up your Wikipedia, all right?
Okay.
And I want to make sure that this thing is fact-checked and accurate.
Mm-hmm.
Birth name Giovanni Massari, is that true?
Yes, it is. It's true. That's my legal name. As a matter of fact, now with the real ID, I had to go through a lot of hoops. They go, why are you not using your birth name? What are you hiding? I'm not hiding anything. The time that I grew up in, if you had a foreigner name, people kind of looked at you funny.
So, what are you hiding?
I'm not hiding anything.
The story about you changing your ID. Now I hear.
All my relatives in Italy love calling me John.
Also known as Biggie G?
Yeah, Biggie G.
Who the hell knows you as Biggie G? Now I do think you're hiding something.
So there's Biggie G, and there's also David Inlander. There is a company called Extreme Music. They create music that's used in commercials and movie trailers and what have you. And I have a body of work with them. And it's customary that you use a different nom de plume when you're working there, so it doesn't seem like one guy is hogging up all the attention. So it's one of the things that happens in the business.
It says here at age 6, he began training on piano, trumpet, and contrabass.
Yes. Now I wasn't 6 years old when I was playing the contrabass because I had to have a ladder. That wasn't until I was like 14 I played the contrabass.
He also studied with Albert Harris and earned the Frank Sinatra Music Award for competition.
Yes, I do. And if you search online, you'll see me standing right next to Frank, accepting that award.
I had another fun thing I wanted to do. Hopefully this game doesn't offend you.
Okay. Well, actually, if it did, that would be fun.
Okay. Now, obviously, we focused a lot here today on killer clowns.
Right.
But you do have this giant, extensive resume of film and TV
What
work.
did you find?
Here's what we're going to play. We're going to play a game, all right?
Okay.
This game is called, Is This a Real Movie You Scored or a Movie I Made Up?
Oh my God, I might not know. I'm
All right.
doomed.
Are you ready to play,
Okay.
Is This a Real Movie You Scored or
Okay.
a Movie I Made Up?
Right.
Did you score in 2001 Final Stab?
Yes, I did. Directed by the marvelous David Dakota.
That is correct.
Yes.
Did you score in 2004 Knife Quest?
Knife Quest. Wow. Knife Quest? Like knife and... No, it
Yes.
doesn't sound familiar.
So you didn't score it?
Your Honor, to the best of my knowledge, I am not familiar with that title.
That is correct. That is a movie I made up. Knife
Wait
Quest.
a minute. I think we can develop a script based on that title.
All right. Did you score in 2003 the movie Leeches! Exclamation mark?
I did indeed, and that was also directed by the most excellent director, who directs, by the way, he is also a dual citizen of Canada.
Oh.
That's David Dakota, yes.
That is correct. All right. Did you did you score in 1995's Bears? Question mark.
Bears? I would have to say no.
That is correct.
Wow. I'm so lucky.
How about 2003's Speed Demon?
Well, you're hitting all the ones directed by Dave Dakota. Yes, I did do Speed Demon.
Nice. That is correct.
Correct.
Did you score 2002's Turbo Satan?
You know, I would see that movie even if I didn't score it. I don't remember doing that one either.
That is correct. That is another one I made up,
Okay.
along with Bears question mark.
This is why it would have a question mark, because is it a bear or is it Bigfoot?
Well, if it's in focus, it's a bear.
And I did do a Bigfoot movie called Cherokee Creek.
Was that directed by Dakota?
No, it was directed by Todd Jenkins in Dallas, Texas. He shot it in Texas. It's a throwback to 80s like drive-in movies. It's really bizarre. You would like it because it's really bizarre.
Okay. Well, I'm a bizarre guy.
Yeah.
Did you score 3 episodes of the paranormal documentary series My Car is Possessed?
Just My Car is Possessed, because there's other ones too. It's
this-
like
this
something
is-
about my house. There's like a ghost TV series that I have music in that I have yet to see.
This particular thing I made up is called My Car is Possessed.
My Car is Possessed. Oh, forget it. No, I didn't do that.
All right,
No.
that is correct. Did you score the straight-to-DVD sequel, The Cell 2?
Yes, sir, I did.
Did you score the straight-to-DVD sequel, Made in Manhattan 2?
That doesn't sound familiar at all.
That is correct.
Oh,
That was a Jennifer Lopez joke.
Okay.
Did you score 2009's Stem Cell?
I have music in Stem Cell. Yes.
That is correct.
Okay.
You're doing really well. Did you score 2008's Science Lab?
I'll have to say no on that.
That is correct.
Okay.
Did you score or have music in 6 episodes of Carney Wilson Unstapled?
Is there like I don't know button that I can press? I'm gonna say my gut reaction is gonna be no.
That is incorrect.
You're
There is
kidding.
indeed the music of John Massari in 6 episodes of Carney Wilson Unstapled. Did you score or have music in 7 episodes of Bridget Nielsen Unstapled?
There's an unstapled for like all these different people? What does that mean? I don't even know what that means. This isn't fair.
I'll give you a hint. I made the second one up.
Oh, good.
I believe Carney Wilson had her stomach stapled because she was
Wow.
overweight, and then she had a talk show, and I think it was a pun on the fact that she was one of the few celebrities who like famously had her stomach stapled.
Some days my life, my job, my kids make me wanna cry. Until then, baby, I'm just gonna have to have another piece of pie.
Do you have music in 5 episodes of Bayou Billionaires?
Bayou Billionaires. Is that the same as Duck Dynasty?
It sounds just as stupid.
Yeah. I'm gonna give it a. Yeah, it's possible.
It is very possible, and that is correct.
What do you know?
Do you have your music in 6 episodes of Quartz Hunters, New Mexico?
That sounds like something I would watch. Quartz Hunters in New Mexico. You know what? I'm just gonna say no.
That is correct.
Oh, good. Okay.
And finally,
Okay.
did you score Snake Eater, Snake Eater 2, The Drug Buster, and Snake Eater 3, His Law, starring Lorenzo Lamas? Did you score the entire Snake Eater trilogy?
It was shot in Canada. It's like I'm blaming Canada for it.
No, you're allowed.
Well, he did 3 actually. The first one I think was just called Snake Eater.
That's right, Snake Eater 1989.
Yeah, 89, and then there's a few others. Yeah, I did all 3 of them.
That is correct. This is all very exciting because you won the game.
I did.
John wins.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
You're in a spaceship. Are you like between Earth and Mars? Are you in the Kuiper Belt? How far away from Earth are you in your spaceship?
I don't think that's been established.
Because you've got the whole time delay thing down. I mean, because when we talk, it's like, it's instantaneous.
Listen here, at Andy's Spaceship, we're not burdened by the laws of physics or anything like that. I can make up some sci-fi gibberish answer like there's a satellite we relay off of. Like when Pluto's in a particular orbit, we can send the beam there and like ricochet it off Earth. And
Those guys in research, they're always coming up with something great.
well, I'm just happy that there's a lot of people that are way smarter than me in the world. That's the thing. Like whenever there's people like complaining about scientists and stuff, and I just think
Right.
simultaneously there's just like people who are just building rovers and just send them to Mars and are like receiving video footage, and meanwhile there's people who think the Earth is flat, and it's like,
Exactly.
and these things are happening simultaneously. Like there's these people that will just quietly build a rover with cameras in it and send it to another planet, and it's just
Millions
like, all right,
and
like,
millions of miles away, and it will actually land there, and it will actually work. Unlike Google Chrome, when you're trying to watch a movie on Apple TV, it seems like I have to be like a Russian computer hacker in order to watch a damn movie.
because they want you to buy the stupid box, right?
I got the stupid box, and then there's like some kind of code you're supposed to have. That's why I just watch stuff on YouTube. I get to a point, if it's not on YouTube, I will rent a movie on YouTube to watch it just because it's easy. It's just like it just boom bang, and I can just watch it.
Yeah, I just have this thing. I just don't want to give YouTube money. I don't know why.
Oh, really? Okay.
I don't know why. Like there's just something. I think it's just because there's so much shit on YouTube that I sort of resent it. Like all like kind of social media platforms.
Right.
It's good, obviously, because I can connect with people, and I wouldn't have the podcast or like the audience I have if it weren't for social media. and then simultaneously it's also really, really shitty and I hate it.
Right.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's like when like Facebook goes like, oh, you can like pay $5 to boost this post. I'm like, fuck you, I will.
Yeah.
Give you
Yeah.
money, you
Oh, no, I
assholes.
totally understand that. But at least I'm getting something for it. And it's amazing the amount of things that are free on YouTube.
That's true. And
That
there is a lot of
blows
good
my
stuff.
mind.
But the thing is, it's not YouTube. Like when I'm watching a great channel, I like watching, there's this dude who does restorations.
Oh, right.
It's just so satisfying to watch because like there's this guy called My Mechanics and he's so good. He just like takes some old German like handsaw from like the 30s and just restores it perfectly, and he like knows how to use every single tool to rebuild, and
That's fascinating.
and it's awesome because I don't have any skill like that. So it's great. I love watching experts do expert things, even if it's in fields I don't understand or even care about. But then it's like, why does YouTube get credit for that? Like, it's that guy was awesome, right?
My cheap thrill is real interrogation room videos. Especially when they're like the guy that has the channel is he's a psychiatrist, and he can pick apart every aspect of what the person is doing, and I don't have to watch it. I can have it off to the side, and I've actually written music and produced music, having it in the background and being fascinated by it.
Well, look, listen, it was fun to chat with you.
It was fun hanging with you as well.
And I look forward to future things. I wish nothing but the best for the whole Killer Clowns sequel.
I'm sure we'll get around to it. There's other things happening with the brand that are more manageable.
Sure.
And I will let you know about that. And also, I want to give you a lot of credit. I love your podcast. It's really soothing to hear your guests talk about their creative process and the synthwave scene in general, and you just pick great tracks, and you got a great format, and you just got to keep that going, man.
Well, it's kind of you to say. Maybe it's because I have a very interrogation room-like style.
I think that's what I go for.
Yeah.
Because you're really good at digging.
The way I grill my guests, and by the end of every show, they admit to smuggling drugs over the border and stuff.
I love the way you cut to the chase. You go, so what the hell do you do when you're not making music? And there was, but you keep doing all your great stuff, man. You're doing wonderful work.
Well, that's kind of you to say, and of course you're a super talented guy. And like I say, we were watching Killer Clowns all summer, and I imagine we're gonna do it again. It was really funny watching my daughter run around going, "Punch your block off! I'm gonna punch your block off," because that's what.
Little shorty, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll send you some fun things to watch and listen to that not many people get to see.
Ooh, that's exciting. It's just going to be a link to a bunch of interrogation videos.
No, this will be something else.
All right, sounds good. Well, listen, have
Okay,
a lovely... you're in Hollywood, right?
I am in the Hollywood Glendale area. I'm if anyone knows what the Hollywood sign is, which is actually Mount Cahuenga, I'm just north of that on the other side of the mountain.
Well, then you have a lovely other side of the Hollywood mountain day.
And
or
you
night,
as
I guess.
well,
It's
my
nighttime.
friend.
It's nighttime on Earth, right? I can't tell because I'm in the...
Right now it's nighttime where I am on Earth.
I guess it's always nighttime out the window because we just keep using the same shot of the ship flying, and so it's always dark out. But
Well, we
yeah,
love
it's
you.
great talking to you. Keep on doing cool things. That's John Massari.
Well, that's our show. Hope you liked it.
Why are you in my chair?
What? I'm ending the show, dude.
This character sucks. Get out of my chair.
Gotta go fast.
point is that the people who support Beyond Synth and cock. Hi there. Yep. Okay. Perverts. You know what? I would love to tell you that Beyond Synth is Beyond Synth. Fuck, it's Andy Spaceship. Hi there. Yeah, look, I know this is supposed to be this. Nope, no. That's right. The awesome people who support Andy Spaceship on Beyond at Patreon. Fuck you. Hi there. It's a one-stop shop. It's where people support the Beyond Synth podcast, which has been running since 2013, and it's where people can support whatever the hell this is. You motherfucker! Andy Spaceship is brought to you. Fuck. Awesome people like you. The awesome people. No, that's not how it goes. Patreon.com/BeyondSynth. It's a one-stop shop. It's a one-stop shop, you motherfuckers! Ah! One stop. Shut up.